Interruption right there, but I had to make sure I get to a place to where the router was definitely a little bit stronger, and I'm at that place now. So today we're going to talk about the system of Freemasonry. Just want to welcome everybody aboard and hoping that this day has found you doing well and that you're truly blessed, you and your family. And to all the brothers of the order and the sisters of the Order of the Eastern Star, I'd like to welcome you aboard. This goes for you too. We're talking about the system of Freemasonry, the system of the Order of the Eastern Star. What is this system and how does this system operate with those who are a part of it? First, I'd like to start off by saying that the system of the Brotherhood of Freemasonry, the Order of the Eastern Star, is just that, a system. Some say a system of morality, brotherly love, relief, and truth. There are many things and attributes that are added to it, but we're talking about a system to where one brother is able to receive privileges of that of a stranger. We're talking about a system to where a sister is able to receive privileges of a stranger. This system that we call Freemasonry, the Order of the Eastern Star. This system that's supposed to bind us together under no less penalties in this or that. This system of oaths that we take to one another to uphold and to do and what not to do toward each other, be it a brother or a sister. This system of Freemasonry in the Order of the Eastern Star. What is it? Tonight we're going to discuss that. So as you begin to come on, and we're going to be talking openly about this system, what it is not, and how does it affect the people who are a part of it. Where does this system of Freemasonry comes from, and how has it developed to what we have today? I know that many have said that the Knights Templars were the first of Freemasonry. And from having conversation with different brothers, one in particular, I'm finding out something a little different based upon the information that has been shared with me, based upon listening to a brother who brought forth other information that definitely given me another look at the system for which we claim that the Knights Templars were the first Freemasonry. Now, before I go any further, I just want to send a big shout out to Faith Lodge number 11 out of Vegas. We're going to be coming up. We're going to be going to Vegas in about a week or so. Looking forward to the initiation that we're going to be holding an initiation in the desert. I'm pretty damn soaked about it. I ain't gonna lie. I'm pretty excited about it. You know, it's one of those moments and times to where you can actually say that you was on a high hill or a low valley. So we're going to be starting at a weird time, and we're going to be in the desert. I can't wait. I'm telling you, this is going to be one of those initiations and times when I'm going to be able to look back and say, wow, what a great time we had. What a great time. So I'd like to welcome everybody along as we begin to talk about the system of Freemasonry in the Order of the Eastern Star. Welcome, Brother Eddie. What's going on? The most wishful John G. Jones, Grand Lodge, Louisiana. You know what? I'm glad that I had the privilege of helping in the naming of the naming of that Grand Lodge, John G. Jones Grand Lodge of Louisiana. I'm glad that I had the privilege of being part of helping to frame the amendments to their constitution in order to change the name. And I appreciate that. That was indeed an honor to be part of that. Certainly sending a big shout out to the most wishful John G. Jones Grand Lodge of Louisiana, and to all the brothers of the choir and sisters of the order under that jurisdiction. Also sending a big shout out to the brothers of Louisiana, the Supreme Council of Louisiana. Big shout out to you and your history that you have brought to the table, and indeed it is in a long history. If you know anything about Louisiana and the French and how Masonry and the Supreme Council of Louisiana came about, it's amazing. I love it. I think they're one of the oldest Supreme Councils in the United States that is very hardly talked about. Brother Vincent, what's up, bro? Brother Vincent, I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate your help, man. And look, man, from me and you, brother, nothing but love. And if I ever find myself back in Texas. We're going to have to hang out. I appreciate you. Greetings to everybody who's coming up. So definitely we're going to be talking about the system of Freemasonry and the Order of the Eastern Star. And what about this system? I will tell you this. The system for which we practice, as I've said before, is a European style of Freemasonry. Listen to what I'm saying. The system of Freemasonry for which we practice today is a European style of Freemasonry. It is truly their system. Hear me clearly. The system of Freemasonry for which we practice here in America is a European style of Freemasonry. It is their system. We have adopted their system. Not everybody, but most of us have adopted that system. There are some Masonic jurisdictions here in the United States that have not adopted the European style of Freemasonry. And if you ever go and visit them, it would be something foreign to you. It would be a little bit different to you because of its system and the way they may open and close and do and hold their hands and how they may prepare their altars in their Masonic temples. It may be a little different to you. It is not that it's wrong. It is just different to you because you have not experienced that side of Freemasonry. And when I say that side of Freemasonry, I'm clearly saying that the system of Freemasonry that we are practicing here is different. It's just a different style. And when you see other jurisdictions doing something different, it is not that they are wrong. It is just a different system. Like take for instance, in some jurisdictions they have deputy grand masters. Some systems they don't have deputy grand masters because deputy grand masters in some organizations are appointed. Some are elected. And some grand lodges don't have deputy grand masters. So when you come across different formations of Freemasonry and you find, well, we have a deputy grand master. They don't have a deputy grand master. They may have an ambassador instead. An ambassador to a Grand Lodge is someone like the ambassador to the United States. He represents the Grand Master no matter where he goes. That can be an appointed position. Some jurisdictions have them, some don't. So when you begin your travel in Freemasonry and you come across brothers that have different systems, it is not that it's wrong. It is just the system they practice. And I will tell you this, in our jurisdiction, and when I say our jurisdiction, I'm merely speaking of the Most Worshipful John G. Jones Grand Lodge of California. The system of Freemasonry for which we practice, we chose the ancient, free, and accepted Masons. And let me tell you, we have nothing to do with England, Scotland, or France. Nothing at all. But the ancient, free, and accepted Masons, those letters that we chose for ourselves, clearly says for us, we practice the ancient customs of Freemasonry. You may ask yourself, so what are those ancient customs you talk about, my brother? What are they? There's just simple customs that cannot be changed. Those ancient customs are grips, words, and signs. The landmarks, you may say, what about the landmarks? Those grips, words, and signs are the landmarks of Freemasonry. They are the original landmarks. And you may say, well, how did you figure that? Because those landmarks, the grips, signs, and words that we have in Freemasonry was here long before those 24, 25 landmarks that we may read in Mackey's jurisprudence. And you must realize this. All Grand Lodges do not accept Mackey landmarks for what they are. Some practice maybe 1 through 5. Some may say 6 through 7. Some may say 8 through 10. Some may not have any of them that they practice. It is up to that Grand Lodge. It is up to that Grand Lodge and its constitution and bylaws which governs it. The only thing that governs your Grand Lodge is your constitution and bylaws. Now, some jurisdictions may say, well, we include Mackey's jurisprudence. And it's cool. Include Mackey's jurisprudence if that's what you choose to do. When some jurisdictions don't include it, they clearly rely on the mere fact of their constitution and bylaws. Some jurisdictions have their constitution and bylaws written up in such a way till it governs them in everything that they do. And this is the way it really should be done. Now, some Grand Lodges have the Constitution and bylaw is the same. Hear me clearly, in some jurisdictions, the Constitution and bylaws is the same article. In some jurisdictions, the bylaws and Constitution are totally separate. So when you begin to get out and to visit and talk with various brothers in regards to the system of Freemasonry, you will find that it's not all the same wherever you go. It's a little different wherever you go. You will find out that in some jurisdiction they have what you call an orator. An orator. The orator sits to the far left of the worshipful master in the east. That's where he sits. And he knows about the lodge in places that nobody else can go. The junior warden can't go, nor can the senior warden go. The orator has a free reign around the lodge. I've seen this for myself as I've visited various jurisdictions. You may say, well, what are you talking about? I'm talking about a position in a lodge that is called the orator. Now, I will share this with you. I have a Grand Lodge of England ritual. Yes, I have it. I shared it with my Grand Master and he has not given it back to me. And I will tell you this. Their ritual is nothing like Lester Look to the East. It is nothing like Duncan. It is nothing like a Prince Hall Masonic ritual, which I have two of. It is nothing like any other rituals here in the United States that I've personally seen. This ritual is totally different. They have words for positions in a lodge that are abbreviated, which are totally different than what we have here in the United States. So when you say that Masonry is practiced the same throughout the world, that is to a certain point. That is certainly to a certain point. Because of what I've personally seen, this is where I'm at. Now, when I see something else, I'll share that with you. But to a certain degree and to a certain point, it is not practiced identically the same. There are some similarities. I've gone to lodge meetings where every person in the lodge has a sword or a sword. Depends on how you want to use the word. Every member has one. Not just the Tyler. So the system that we practice in Freemasonry is just a little bit differently. Just like in some jurisdictions, I would say this. The Deputy Grand Master doesn't have as, let me tell you, the senior ward in your Grand Lodge has more power than the Deputy Grand Master. You may say, well, how does the senior warden have more power than the Deputy Grand Master? Well, in some jurisdictions, the Deputy Grand Master is appointed. In some, he's elected. But the senior warden, see, the structure in the system of Masonry is based upon your Blue Lodge. You do not have a Deputy Grand Master in your Blue Lodge. You don't have a deputy of anything in your Blue Lodge. You have a district deputy. Depends on the size of your jurisdiction. You may have a district deputy. But other than that, there is no deputy of anything in your Blue Lodge. And the Grand Lodge is based upon your Blue Lodge system. It is. Your Grand Lodge is based upon your Blue Lodge system with three principal officers: senior warden, junior warden, worshipful master, junior deacon, senior deacon, junior steward, senior steward, secretary, treasurer, Tyler, inside, outside Tyler. That's what we practice here in the United States. However, as I've said for the fourth time, some jurisdictions have that Deputy Grand Master. He's elected. Some jurisdictions have an appointed Grand Master. But when the senior warden shows up on the scene for visitation, he is the it factor. As a matter of fact, he should be the it factor because he's the senior warden. It clearly says that in the absence of a worshipful master, the senior warden takes his place. In the absence of a Grand Master, depends on where you at, the senior warden should take his place, not the Deputy Grand Master. Just depends on how it's written. I would tell you, brothers of the craft and sisters of the order, please take a look at your Constitution and bylaws and see what it says in regards to who has the authority when they visit. In some jurisdictions, the Deputy Grand Master receives honors when he knocks at the door and he enters the lodge. Just like a Associate Grand Matron receives honor when she walks into a chapter. Okay? There is no district grand worthy matron, associate matron. There's no such thing. And it shouldn't be in masonry, but we make titles and positions up based upon the need. We do. Somebody tell me this. Where did the deputy grand master come from? Who brought that into the system of Freemasonry? Because there was never a deputy grand master in the system of Freemasonry. That is something that was brought up and made up. Because in the system of Freemasonry, there is no deputy in your lodge. You only have 3 principal officers for a master mason, 7 for an inner apprentice, and 5 for a fellow craft. So where did this come from? How did this come to be? Unless somebody added it into the system, and then another jurisdiction comes along and adopts that same system. Like here in this jurisdiction, we practice, as I've said, the ancient custom, meaning that when a brother from a different jurisdiction comes to your lodge and he can be vouched for, we believe that he has a right to visit. Once again, if a brother comes to my lodge, Hosea Lodge number 7, Ancient Free and Accepted Masons, and knocks on the door, we believe that that brother has a right to visit based upon the Q&A that he received from the Tyler, outside Tyler, based upon the fact that he has a legitimate Masonic card, based upon the fact that he's being vouched for. He can visit. When you may say, well, Brother Hawkins, does that apply to modern, free, and international? Yes, it does. In this jurisdiction, it does. Because we have a working relationship with modern and free. We have a working relationship with international. We have those working relationships with those different jurisdictions. I didn't say amenity. I didn't say no treaty or anything. I said a working relationship. And if the relationship that we have with them is Masonic, of course they can visit. Of course they can in this jurisdiction. And see, the most important thing a brother can do or a sister can do is understand the workings of their own jurisdiction. And do not apply the way you do your work to anybody else but yourself. Just because it's not done in somebody else's jurisdiction doesn't make it wrong or right. It is the way they do their work. And let me explain to you this. In this jurisdiction, we work with the United Supreme Council for the Western Masonic jurisdiction. Under that Supreme Council that we work with, we have the primitive rights. The primitive rights is structured under our Supreme Council. And brothers would say, well, why is that? That's totally separate. No. Hear me clearly. Our Supreme Council, the Western Supreme Council adopted the mere fact that they would practice the primitive rights under the system, under their system. And nobody can say anything about it. You can say whatever you want to say. It was done. It was voted on and selected. See, when you learn that other jurisdictions don't do things like you do it, then it's really okay. You know, and when you travel and see that brothers are different no matter where you go, then you have a better flow, a better understanding of Freemasonry. Then you won't be so amped to talk down to different jurisdictions because it is not the same. My past Grand Master, Michael P. McCullough, who was initiated, passed, and raised overseas in Prince Hall ground, in Prince Hall. I'm trying to think of where he was at overseas when he got initiated, passed, and raised. Dubai. I want to say Dubai. I want to say he was over in Dubai when that happened. But anyway, with that being said, you know, we've chopped it up many a times in regards to the process and this and that. You know, and he's been in this jurisdiction. Well, God bless him. He passed away about maybe 3 years ago, but he was in his jurisdiction 17 years. You know, 17 years he was in this jurisdiction. But the thing is that when he went home to visit in Detroit, you know, and his nephew was being raised, and when he knocked at the door and they came and they asked who he was, he said, "This is who I am." They let him in. Yes, they let him in. They let him in. And he sit in the East because they invited him to the East because his nephew was being raised. And his nephew sent him an invitation to go visit. And he sit right there and watched it. Now, did they have questions about it? Yeah, they had questions. They did. But that's all they had because he was able to be tried and never denied. The process is, brothers of the craft and sisters of the order, no matter where you go, no matter where you travel, it's not going to be like it is in your own jurisdiction. It is not. I've been in lodges to where when the brothers walk around, they square every corner, every inch. I've been in lodges to when brothers get up and walk around, they just walk around. There's no pride about it. There's no like, bam, bam, none of that. I've been initiations where I thought the brother was going to really die. I've been in initiations where I fell asleep. So when you understand that, yes, I went to initiation. I did. And I fell asleep. I had one of my brothers with me and he was nudging me. Brother, wake up. I couldn't take it. There was no excitement to the initiation. None. These brothers did it by the book. I mean, they didn't miss not one word, one period, one comma. They did it strictly by the book, without a book. The initiation team was on point, but there was no life in the initiation. I've gone to Eastern Star chapters and watched them do their initiation. There's no life. You're like, oh, okay. You know. But when you got life in your initiation, everybody's excited. Like, yeah. Have you ever been to an initiation and it's so full of life, it terrifies the person who's about to go through the initiation because he or she is like, they are too damn happy. See, the system is different. Depends on where you go. I remember once I was with Brother Munoz, and they was doing their initiation. I'm watching and I'm learning, and they doing stuff I hadn't seen before. I haven't seen it before, and I told my brothers who was there visiting, said, man, we need to do that. So the next year we incorporated that some of the similarities that they have, we brought them in with ours. So now our initiation is not necessarily something you're going to actually see in a book. So this is what I enjoy about Freemasonry. I would say here in this jurisdiction, what I really love is some of the things that we have added that you can go get any ritual you want to and read it from back to the cover. I mean, from the front to the back. You can boom, 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 boom. In the initiation process here in this jurisdiction, you're not going to find the beginning of it in any ritual. You won't. And that's what I really enjoy, is the mere fact that it is a privilege to be a Mason. It's a privilege. Because now, brothers who get initiated in this jurisdiction, they can say, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And brothers be like, that didn't happen to me. It's like, yeah, that happened to me. Blah, blah, blah. No, that didn't happen to me. But it happened to me over here. And that's the beauty. And then they can say, oh, well, that happened to me. Oh, well, yeah, that was asked of me. Yeah, they gave me the charge, or they did. Yeah, you can say all of that to a certain point. But there should be some real secretive things in Masonry that you can't find in a book. And I'm glad to say that in this jurisdiction, we have adopted some things that you can't find in a book. You won't find it in a book. And that's the beauty of Freemason. That is the privilege of being a Freemason, that you're not going to be able to find everything in a book. You're not. But if you look deep enough, if you become an initiate in Freemasonry, you won't have to look for it in a book, because you will know it. And that is the difference when you find a person who go by the rituals and they read them and they can Q&A you. But until you experience riding a goat, until you experience the journey of an inner apprentice, a fellow craft, a master mason, a raising, until you experience, there's no amount of book reading that's going to give you that. It is not. And that's the beauty. And then if you really get involved with Freemasonry, you're never going to see things the same way. if you really get, when I say really get involved with Freemasonry, I'm talking about really begin to understand the symbolism that Masonry, which holds secrets. And some of you may say, well, Masonry has no secrets. Masonry has secrets. It really does. The process is that you have not yet discovered them. And I can actually say that because being here 32 years, just last, I think probably 2 years ago, when I finally had a aha moment and understood what I was saying in my obligations, then the light clicked. Go back and read your obligations. You'll find those secrets that I'm talking about because you have never really thought about secrets of Masonry. I thought this was a secret. No, nothing in the ritual is a secret because you can go by the ritual. I'm talking to you about things that are not in the rituals. And trust me, you have been told about things that are not in the ritual. You're probably saying, Brother Hawkins? What do you mean, Brother Tony Muhammad? What do you mean, Brother Tony? What do you mean? I'm telling you that you've been told things as a Mason, as an Eastern Star, that are not in the rituals, which are secrets. But you paid no attention to them. You had no never mind about them. So tonight we're talking about the system of Freemasonry. And how the system varies from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. And the best thing any brother or sister can do is mark their own history, mark their own journey. Until you mark your own, somebody will mark it for you, and before you know it, it's their history, their journey. And you're looking behind you like, I did. No, it's theirs now. Because you did not mark it. You did not write it down. So I commend brothers of the craft and sisters of the order who write these things down. I commend you who studied the five herons of the order and really understand their journey. There are sisters out there that are so deep into the Order of the Eastern Star that they will frighten you. And I would tell you a couple of them that I know of are not even stars. But before they even started the journey, they looked at those five herons of the order. And they asked themselves, do I match up to them? And when they came up with yes, 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 and yes, the only question was that I need to become an Eastern Star. I need to become an Eastern Star because I match up with those five herons of the order. And I understand what is on the altar. And I understand what is below the altar of the Order of the Eastern Star. I understand the pentagram and how it circumvents itself. And understanding that we're on points and not on squares. Some sisters think that you're on a square. Sisters, you're not on a square, you're on a point. And I would have that conversation with any sister of the Order of the Eastern Star. And that is the beauty of the star and how the star encompasses the square encompass. And I've told you before and I tell you again, it is hidden. This is why when you look at the altar, even when you look at the emblem of the Order of the Eastern Star, you will find the Masonic apron in there with the flap up. I'm just saying, symbolism. Masonry is hidden, and the secrets of Masonry is hidden within the symbolism. But when you don't study the symbolism as a language, when you can't break it down, then you miss it. Let me tell you this here. Once upon a time, as I've read in the Bible, when the Christians, as they was beginning to be called, was being crucified, when they was being murdered, they was afraid to tell people that they were Christians, that they was the followers. Before they was Christian, they was what you call followers. So what they would do along the journey as they would travel from city to city, when they seen someone coming on the same road that they was traveling, they would stop and they would draw half a fish. You would have to draw the other half of the fish. And then you would greet each other as followers, and then you would do the dirt and you would mess it up. And then once you greet each other as followers, then you made that bond. Just as is in Freemasonry. Once I have greeted you and found that you to be worthy and well qualified, we have made that bond. That's why you said certain things in your obligation that you wouldn't do, but yet you have done them. It's truth. You know, I don't have to tell you what they are. You already know if you have broken your obligation. Well, talking with you, Brother Hawkins, I broke my obligation. Ah, come on, man. Come on, sister. You know better than that. And that's the thing. When you grow into Freemason, when you grow as a sister of the Order of the Eastern Star, the small things disappear. You see the bigger picture. See, small-minded Masons and Eastern Stars, they still bicker over things that they have no control over. They bicker over small things. They don't know how to really take their working tools and actually use them physically. See, you have not yet gotten there. Because if you had gotten there, then you would understand the process and the system of Freemasonry and what it's all about. You haven't gotten there yet. Your mind has not yet developed. Your mind hadn't gotten there yet. So therefore, if you haven't gotten there yet, you're going to be a lost cause. You're going to be talking and debating over childish things. That's what you're going to be doing. When you have not yet matured as a Mason, when you don't know how to show respect to other Masons, other sisters of the Order of the Eastern Star, when you have not yet gotten there, you're going to be at an immature level. That's truth. And this is where you're going to find you're not going to be able to sit at the table and have a mature conversation in regard to the philosophy of Freemasonry and to be able to break it down. And see, that's what I tell most brothers who are 33rds, and you've heard me say it before, they pay for their 33rds because they're not able to lecture to you on any of the previous degrees that they say that they have made proficiency in. Some brothers don't know what Mark Masons means and how they're able to break down the mark that each one of them carries. See, Mark Masters or Mark Masons have a mark. And when I see you as a Mark Master, you're supposed to give me your mark. Oh, you didn't know that, right? You didn't know that. I'm just saying. If I greet you as a Mark Master Mason, you're supposed to show me your mark. What is your mark? I'm just saying. These are the tad bits and things that we should really consider. I would tell you this, for those of you who know about it already, there are different coins with different marks on it. It is, it's true. There are different coins with different marks on it. But if you don't have a coin with a particular mark on it, your mark, whatever it may be, you still have a mark to give. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but you have one to give. And that is the beauty of the system of Freemasonry. I would tell you this, and I don't know how many of you know this. Overseas, most of the jurisdictions overseas don't carry membership cards or Masonic passports. They don't. Hear me clearly. Most jurisdictions overseas do not carry Masonic passports, nor do they carry Masonic dues cards. You may be like, what are you talking about? Really? Yes, really. And the reason being, you're going to be tried. They're going to find out if you who you say you are. It's going to be a little different. Let me tell you, it's going to be a little different now. They're going to grip you a certain way, not like we grip here in America. It's not going to be like that. I'm going to let you know that now. I can honestly say, foreigners who are Masons don't grip the same as we do here on the West Coast or in the United States on the West Side, as they say, North America. You go down South America and you grip a brother, it is not going to be the same. You go down Tijuana, Mexico, it is not going to be the same. Mexico, I'm talking about real Mexico. You go down there, it is not going to be the same. You meet a Mexican brother, when they grip you, it's not going to be the same as you would grip here in North America. It is not. You say, well, what type of grip they're going to give you? If you're a Mason, you'll know it. And they're not going to pull out no dues card. They're not going to pull out no Masonic passport. They're not going to do it. Once they find out who you are, because you may have an emblem on or something that identifies you to be a Mason, they're gonna hit you up. But nothing like they do here in North America. That's just a fact. They're not going to do it. So the system that we practice here in America is just a different system than they practice anywhere else. This is why it's important for you to understand that Masonry is bigger than where you're at, and it's not going to be the same wherever you go. And that's the beauty of it. And I will tell you this, if you have not yet traveled, when you do, when you step into that lodge and you look around, you approach that east, the west of the Bible, you go to that Bible and you look on it. It may not be where your lodge like it to be. So you may say it's cloudy. Oh, it's cloudy. It's cloudy. No. That's not right. Brothers of the crack, you're going to be escorted out. They're going to be like, nah, bruh, we don't know. Nah. That happened to me. I visited a lodge and I went in and I was asked to approach the east. And I did. And when I got there, I looked. I was like, this ain't right. You know, I think I've told you this before. The worshipful master came. The worshipful master asked the senior deacon to approach. Senior deacon went. He looked. He said, it's clear. He looked at me. He said, Brother Tony, apparently, what is not right on the altar? And I told him. He said, well, I'm sorry to inform you. In our jurisdiction, we do not practice that. Ta-da! That was my first wake-up call. That was in 1987. That was in 1987 when that happened to me. That was my first wake-up call to be like, oh, so you mean to tell me I thought all along, no matter where I go and where I travel, it was going to be like this? It's not. No. I learned something else during my travels. Is that you in my lodge, we say senior warden, junior warden. And some lodges I went to, they were saying right wishful. I'm like, we don't say that until we get the grant session. But in their blue lodge, they were saying right wishful. Right wishful senior warden, right wishful junior warden. I was like, we don't say that. We say that in the grant session for grant officers. Oh, but we say this in blue lodge. It's in our ritual. I was like, oh. This is why it's important to respect other brothers, other crafts when you travel, because you don't know everything. Just because you do it this way in the United States doesn't mean it's done this way all over the world. It's not. Let me just check out some of the comments real quick. I'd like to welcome everybody along. Greetings everybody who's coming along. Illuminati Light, the Deputy Grand Master, ECT, were corrected by the Grand Lodge of England, just as they innovated the Pavilion Grand Master, etc., as well as the typical Grand Lodge concept itself. Thank you, Brother Illuminating Light. He broke that down to you. This is why in some jurisdictions, such as his, they may not have that. They may not have it. This is why it's important that you must travel and see for yourself. Masonry is different around the world. It is. This is why in the United States, I can only speak for my jurisdiction at this time because I'm a member. When we say ancient, free, and accepted Mason, that means that we practice the ancient customs. It has nothing to do that we're connected with no Grand Lodge of England, no Scotland, no France, but none of that. We just practice the ancient customs. We chose for ourselves ancient, free, and accepted Masons. It is not to identify with anybody else but the customs. Simple as that. Let's see what else we got here. Whoa, I didn't see this one. What's up, Light Show podcast? You got to go visit that podcast. Everybody, you see it lit up. Go check out the brother's podcast. Brother Travis, how you doing? I appreciate you. Great Lodge teaching past grand. Big Coop, what's going on with you? So, and I'll tell you this here. I have my Imperial Potentate on tonight. He's in the show tonight. Sending him a big shout out, Will Smith. I would tell you this. When you think that you know it all, you don't know it all. When you think that you have it on lock and that nobody else can tell you anything, they can tell you something, including your inner apprentices. Even if you're a sitting grandmaster and you think, well, inner apprentices, no. You need to listen. You need to look at an attentive ear. An attentive ear is always in need. Okay? An attentive ear is always in need. And for those of you who have been initiated, you know exactly what I'm saying when I say an attentive ear. You can always learn something from somebody else. I don't know it all. I got brothers all the time that are members of the research lodge, always sending me information. Try this, do that, check this out. Check, I'm bombarded with information. And I appreciate them. It's so much I can't get to it all. I have a brother that's in Pennsylvania right now. He's a Prince Hall brother. Dear friend of mine. I would call him a dear friend of mine. I got about maybe 20. He's going to probably say more. I would say I have 20 lectures, probably more than that this brother has shared with me that he wrote. Okay, he sent them to me. Brother Hawkins, I wrote this lecture. I think that being on your show, I think that it would definitely enhance it. You can share this with anybody. Any brother who wanted, you email them the lecture. Because like he told me, I can't take it with me, Brother Hawkins. I want to share it. I want to give it to the world. I want to give it to the brothers. I want them to have it. And I appreciate him. And I talk to him at least once a week. He knows exactly what I'm talking about. He's a member of the Pennsylvania Grand Lodge. He's a member of Pennsylvania Grand Lodge. Yes, sir. Great brother. I don't want to mess his name up. I'm not going to try to say his name. I'm going to have some respect for him tonight. I know a lot of Masons that are still immature. Oh, yeah. Modern customs. Are there modern customs? There are modern customs. And what I found in the modern customs is that they take, this is my own personal opinion from my own experience, okay? The modern customs of Freemasonry are those things like the landmarks are modern customs, okay? Then you're going to take the landmarks and then you're going to take your Constitution or Anderson Constitution and apply that to your Grand Lodge, to your jurisdiction. To me, those are modern customs. Long before the Anderson Constitution was written, you had Freemasons operating in their own system in what I would call the ancient customs. Once the Anderson Constitution was written, Grand Lodges began to set up barriers and borders around their own jurisdictions. This is why some Grand Lodges have Masonic books to say, well, you're not in my book here, and therefore if you can't visit, we don't recognize you. Those are modern customs to me. When you put up walls to where a brother can't visit your lodge, and you put up walls to where a sister can't visit your chapter based upon your constitution, your bylaws, those are modern customs. I'm not saying that we don't have a constitution or bylaws. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that modern customs have limited brothers in their travels, sisters in their travels, because you're saying unless I recognize you and you're in my book, that's the only way you can visit. According to ancient customs, if a brother can vouch for you, if you have been tried, you can visit, showing that you are truly who you say you are as a Mason. That's ancient custom. Modern custom says no. Unless you are in my book, unless you are recognized by me, unless these things are in place, you can't visit. Those to me are modern customs. Greetings everybody who's about to come on, and those who you're on, I appreciate you. Thank you for the donation. The Lodge Professor. the Lodge Professor. Oh my. So as we go forth in this journey we call Freemasonry, brothers of the class and sisters of the order, please, whatever you do, enjoy yourself along the way. Find that lodge, find that chapter that you're going to. I don't care what it is. It can be Prince Hall, it can be Modern Free, it can be International. Some people don't agree with the system of International Freemasonry. It's their system. Some people don't agree with the system of modern Freemasonry. When I say modern, I'm talking about ancient free modern Masons. Okay? Did I say that right? No, it's not international. It's modern Freemasonry. MF, modern Freemason. Some people don't agree with their system. But it's their system. It is not mine. I don't practice that system. But if the brother can show me or the sister can show me who they are, that they are who they claim to be, an Eastern Star, a Mason, and if they do have the proper passport or membership card showing that, yeah, in my jurisdiction, once again, they can visit. Because we practice the ancient customs in our custom of Freemasonry, in this jurisdiction, we clearly say that if a brother has proven himself to be who he say he is, he can visit. Once he's vouched for, and once the Tyler has found him to be a Mason, you can visit. It's not about, oh, your jurisdiction. Here it's not about that. Now, do we have a book with various Grand Lodges and in it? Yeah, we do. We have our own Masonic book, and we got various lodges in it that we deal with. We do. But it's something that we very rarely use when a brother comes to visit, because he needs to show himself worthy and well qualified. Maybe he needs to walk the master's carpet. Maybe he needs to walk the Tyler sword. Maybe he's going to take the whatever, I can't think of the name of it. There are several things that brothers can do, and chapters and lodges do, to verify whether you are who you claim to be. See, these things are not in a ritual. You're not going to find how do you do walk 3, 5, 7, and you're not going to find it in a ritual. Most African American jurisdictions, ancient free and accepted Masons, they know about it. I would imagine that my brothers who are Prince Hall know about it. It's just custom among us. And when I say us, I'm talking about black Grand Lodges in general, PHO included. You know, walk the master's carpet. I've only had to do that a few times, but they was within the jurisdictions that I visited, and the majority of the brothers there was black, African Americans. You can call it what you want to call it, but it was with them. When I visit other lodges, master's carpet, what's that? Walk it. How do you walk the master's carpet? You never heard of that. Ancient form, due form. What is all of that? And then you have to be able to explain that, because they don't practice that in your jurisdiction. But that's the beauty of Freemasonry. And I tell everyone, please, when you become a Master Mason, don't limit your travel. Don't do that to yourself. If you're able to travel and brothers have invited you out to their lodges and their functions, go see for yourself. Enjoy the craft and see what it's really all about. And then you're going to see things from a whole different point of view. You're going to understand, in Mexican lodges, they have that orator. You're going to see his duties of an orator. You'll be like, wow, that's dope. that's dope, for real. You know, and that is truly the beauty. And let me tell you, although my Mexican brothers, where I've gone and fellowship with, a lot of them don't speak great English. The English is broken. But the love of Freemasonry that they have and the joy of the fellowship when you're around them is different, because they carry it a different way. It means something. Let me tell you, Freemasonry in some countries are political. It's political. I'm telling you, if you go to France, Freemasonry in France, they are politically active. Period. In human rights and social issues, they are active. In America, not as active. Masons here in America is not active in social issues. Individually, we may be, but as an organization, no. Individually, here in the United States, Freemasonry does not interfere, do not have political clout. They don't. Grand lodges, and they don't. Individually, they do. When I say that, that means that a person who's a part of Freemasonry may be really politically active in one party or the other. But they don't bring their Masonic attributes and things into their political activity, because you are forbidden in North America to have politics, to talk about politics in the lodge or religion in the lodge, because that really does cause disharmony. Only mature Masons are ready for that. Hear me clearly. Only mature Masons are ready to have conversation in regards to politics and religion and not fall out, get mad and angry. Immature Masons have disagreements about politics and religion and fall out and get mad and don't want to talk to each other. Immature Masons are those Masons that look at you differently because your system of Freemasonry is different than theirs. My house is bigger than yours. Your house is bigger than mine. I'm a Baptist. I'm a Catholic. You know. So when we think about the system of Freemasonry, no, the Knights Templar, I'm going to tell you this here. And I had a deep conversation with a brother, and he broke it down to me. The Knights Templars were guardians for the Pope. Yes, they had a system. They had a system, but they were guardians for the Pope. This is why the Pope had them assembled, had them crushed. In so many words, he had them killed with the Knights of Hospitaliters. The reason you don't see the Knights of Templars in the Roman Church anymore, because they were there, because now you have the Knights of Columbus. Yeah, they took the place of the Knights Templars, became guardians of the Pope. And then let's not talk about the Jesuits. What do you know about the Jesuits? I mean, come on. That's a secret society within the Roman Catholic Church. Them some bad boys. Oh, but you didn't know about that one, huh? Some of you may have heard of Jesuits. Them cats don't play. You talking about the Illuminati? That is the Illuminati for the Roman Catholic Church, Jesuits. And for those of you who know, if you got any other information you want to share with me, please do. If I'm wrong, just say, hey, Brother Hawkins, I don't think you're quite right on that one. The Jesuits are this or they're that. But I tell you, once you go read for yourself and to find out about the Jesuits, you're going to begin to look at the Roman Church a little bit differently than you do now. Because we do understand that the Roman Church, where they're at right now, that's their country. They have a 24-mile block of land, and it's their country. They are a sovereign nation. Yeah, the Roman Church in their country, that 24-mile block of land is theirs. It's a sovereign country ran by the Pope. That's a fact. And under that 24-mile block of land, you will have libraries. And if you ever get the opportunity to go into that library, you're only going to get a sheet of paper about that big with a small pencil. That's it. No cameras, no microphones, no nothing. That's true. And if you ever get down there, you'll see that they have a Black Mary. I mean, man, it's so deep that when you begin to talk about the Roman Church and Freemasonry and how it all comes together, it's deep. That's why even on the Scottish Rite side of Freemasonry, you have a knight. A knight. Those to me are the true knights. Not the Knights of Templars. There's some good guys over there. I'm sounding like Trump. There's some good guys over there. There's some good guys over there. But let me tell you, the system is not necessarily that was built upon the Knights of Templars as we would like it to believe. It's not. Let's see what else we got. French Revolution. Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. This secret in the Masonic order, the Master's Carpet. That's a secret in the Masonic order, the Master's Carpet. Yeah, because it's not written down nowhere. You have to learn that when you go to your lodge meetings. I know a lot of Masons that, okay. Good evening, everybody who's about to come on. Those of you who are on, I'd like to send you a big shout out. I hope that you're doing okay. Hope that your family is well. Blessings to you and yours. As I'm getting ready to close out tonight, I just want to, as always, say thank you for coming on. You don't know what it means for me to come and do this show and you pop up every time I'm on here to just your energy. I feel it through your questions that you ask. And I just want to say I appreciate you. I really, really do. And if you ever desire to be a Mason, if you ever want to desire to be an Eastern Star, reach out to me. You know the number. It hadn't changed. And if it changed, boy, a lot of people are going to be upset. So reach out to me. If you're interested in becoming a Mason, you can email me at jgjafam@yahoo.com. Again, that is jgjafam@yahoo.com. And we'll definitely reach out to you. If you're interested in becoming an Eastern Star, you can do the same. Because let me tell you, brothers of the craft, sisters of the order, those who wish to come in and be initiated into this great fraternity, it's beautiful. It is simply beautiful when you're in the right atmosphere. I ain't gonna lie to you and say that you won't have no bad times. I didn't say that. I said the system is beautiful. I didn't say nothing about the people that's in it. I said the system. Hear me clearly when I tell you that. The system of Freemasonry and the Order of the Eastern Star is beautiful when practiced, when it's in your heart. It's beautiful. So, with that being said, I want to say thank you for coming on. Whatever you do, keep your light on. Stay out the bushes. Stay out the bushes. The higher we climb, the clearer the vision. Peace and be well.